Hey YouTube, it's Dimitri, and today we're going to talk about what to do when you have deep concerns for what's going on at the office. So a subscriber messaged me and said, Dimitri, I'm a newly grad on a validation team, and I have deep concerns about my team's practices. I'm not experienced in finance. I only have a bachelor's. I feel this does not give me credibility and falsifies my concerns. Any advice? Oh man, this is a tough one to answer in a big can of worms. It depends on what's going on and it depends on the issues. So let me kind of take this apart from a category perspective here. Let's just say these are issues and concerns around modeling. Not surprising, kind of a big shocker for a lot of students. The industry is full of just stupid people. I wish I could put it like more softly and nicely. Yes, the majority of the industry makes absolute terrible models. And when I say that, I mean, you can't see, but here on my left, I have a whole bookcase of textbooks and there's like a handful of them, maybe 3 or 4, and you can crack them open and they're like legitimate textbooks used by the vast majority of universities. And you can go through there and you can look at basics things such as assumptions behind modeling and banks, hedge funds, investing firms, quant finance as an entire industry, data science, technology, everybody building models is violating all kinds of really simple to fix issues. But instead of reading textbooks because they're boring and, 800-900 pages and quite detailed because they're covering mathematics and logic in the sense that it's every possible scenario. No, we're not going to go through all that. And so they just go online and run and find assumptions. And it drives me absolutely nuts because when people do this, they're wrong. People just put garbage online. And there's even a lot of textbooks that aren't from legitimate publishers. And again, the material's wrong and you make stupid decisions. If this is the concern and the issue, the only thing I can say is just get used to it. I hate to say that because I'm trying to fight this from the YouTube perspective on educating, getting people up to speed. But the reality is you have to pick and choose your battles. So when stupid, silly things are brought up that are missed, I just try to leave them aside. And it's like, is it really going to negatively impact this model or the firm by significant margins? No, probably not. And then I grit my teeth or I make some sort of little remark on the side or I put it in my report. Because I've spent the last 8 years arguing and fighting with managing directors, heads of validations, heads of model development, and CROs, going through all the nonsense you have to deal with because people just simply can't do their job. So if it's on the technical side, pick and choose your battles here. If you're a new hire, I would just take notes. Take a notebook. You might even keep it hidden away at work. But just take notes on the things you see, the issues you have. Because in the long run, it's nice to go back and look at that and figure out why they did that. Or perhaps when you move on to a new job, you can think about these are the common mistakes I see. How will I fix them? Because eventually, if you become a manager, it is really nice to have managers that understand these sorts of things and know these issues. And you can use these as teaching examples. So I like to take notes on that. If it's something super serious and you're a junior employee, I would bring up the issue to your direct manager and say, hey, I saw this, and this was done. And then put it in a question. Don't put it in you're wrong. This is complete nonsense, which is what I would like to tell people. But the better approach is to say, hey, you did this. Doesn't this violate this assumption or, doesn't this make the model not work correctly because you essentially used all the data instead of your out of time sampling like you should have done, but put it in a question and wait to see what they say. Sometimes you'll get some traction, sometimes you will not. But after you kind of pitch the question and get an answer, I would just step back. Don't push it too far, especially as a junior employee here. So that's from the technical side. Now on, let's say a political side or a process and procedure side. So let's say something I see super common, a CCAR forecast was developed and they don't like the forecast. And so they go in and just do overlays and pick and choose what they want. That's a really bad practice. And yet banks do it consistently. And the Federal Reserve kind of just smiles and nods and says, oh, okay, that makes some sense. That's a bad practice. Other things, for example, just, let's say it's a blatant lie. Let's say I don't know, you have failing models and someone goes in and they're just, lying and saying it should have passed, but it didn't. And there's I don't know, really serious sins. If it's really serious and it's really terrible, my advice would be just to look for another job. and then move your way towards a new job and just get out of the situation here. You see my tactics in general here is do not get into the fights unless absolutely necessary. Because to be honest with you, most people in life I have found make a decision and they stick with it regardless of other evidence that comes up later down the road. So maybe something they didn't know. And at banks, other firms, institutions I've been at, consulting and whatnot, it's often better to throw things out there so people do think about it and perhaps they did make a mistake and they're willing to change. And I have had people that I've found that said, oh, I didn't even realize that, or I didn't know you could do this. And they'll find it, but it's best to kind of pitch them as questions, get simple answers, and then move on. The only things I kind of push back on and I've made big fits on are like serious issues with modeling, serious issues with bad team practices. Again, throw it out there, throw out a solution. Don't just be like the person pointing out the problem, because that drives me nuts as a manager, as well as other managers I've worked for. Throw out a solution, ask it as a question, and then see how the response is. If the situation's bad and it's like they're not really giving you like a good response, again, I would still keep working there for a bit, see how things are going. Like maybe they're just dumb and incompetent on one really specific area. But maybe they have everything else dialed in and figured out. Like no firm is going to be perfect. You know, I'm not even perfect. I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff I've done, and I just wish people would step up and say something, but perhaps they didn't. So again, my advice, ask simple questions, see what you get for answers. If it's a super serious issue and you feel like it's a moral or ethical dilemma, or it's just really bad practice, it's best just to find something else, another job, another opportunity in the long run. But again, keep working as hard as you can where you're at. I just don't like to fight people. It's usually not worth the effort in general. But that's kind of my 2 cents on what to do. So anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And as always, until next time.